when we put this x-axis and y-axis together, right? We put them like that, and yeah, that's how it is. But something unique about a Cartesian plane is that you can see that the numbers extend all the way down to the negatives, right? And then to the positives as well for x. And as for y, it goes to the negatives. See, -1, -2, -4 into the negatives. And it goes into the positives as well for y. I think that's something interesting about that. All right. So the next thing I would like to look at is actually naming points on the Cartesian plane itself. Okay, so a point has both, when we talk about it, has both an x and a y. A point has both an x and a y when we're putting it on a Cartesian plane, or getting it from the, or getting a point from a Cartesian plane. It will have both an x and a y. All right, so I'll show you how this works. Let's say I have an x value of 1. And let's say I had a y value of 1. Where would this point be on this graph? Where would this point be on this graph? You know what? Let's actually zoom in a bit. Okay? Okay, I think that's enough zoom. So we're trying to plot the point. We're trying to plot the point. We're trying to plot the point 1, 1. Right? So we know this is our x and this is our y over here. And we're trying to plot it. So how will I plot it? Alright, so first things first, I know my x is 1 and my y is 1 as well. So if I look around here, where is my x? 1. So remember this right here, this is my x-axis right here. From here to along here, right? So that's my x-axis. So where's 1 on my x-axis? Oh, where is it? Oh, right here. That's my 1. Where's my y? Over here. That's my y. That's where y is 1. Now, if we look at these two, we'll have to make a point here. Like that. Let me give you another example here. Let's say we wanted to plot 2, 2. Okay? So we'd start with the x value. Always look for your x value first, right? Where's my x value here? Oh, I found 2. And how high does it go up? It goes up 2 points as well, because this is my x value, and this is my y value. So it starts at 2, goes up 2. See? 2 in the y, 2 in the x. I put my point right over there. And you can name your points like this. So you can put 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay? All right. So let's try and plot some more difficult stuff here. Let's say we want to be plotting. Let me just erase this out. Let's say I want this to disrupt you. Oops. Let's erase all that out. Let's say we want to be plotting something like -2, 3. How are we gonna plot it? How will we plot -2, 3? I'm gonna look around here. How will I plot -2, 3? I'm gonna look for my x value first, right? Look for my x value first, and then we'll look at my y value. So my x value here, oh, -2, I found it right here. And then I'm gonna look, how high does it go? It goes 3 up, because it's positive, right? So we'll look for 3 again. 1, 2, 3, right here. 3 is right there. So I've plotted -2, 3. Okay, that's cool. Let's try something else. Okay, let's try and plot the point. Let's try and plot the point -1, 3. How will we plot -1, 3? Again, my x is -1, my y is 3. So if we look here, -1 is right here on my x plane. -1 is right there, and my y is 3. So it goes 1, 2, 3, right here, right beside this point. But that would be my -1, 3 point. Alright, now let's look at another point. Let's look at another point here. Let's look at -2, -2. How will we plot this one? Again, our x is -2, and our y is -2. Let's try and plot it. So x would be -2, y would be -2, x is -2 here, oops, x is -2 here, y is -2 here. Our point would meet, and where they meet like this, it'd be right there. That would where my point would be. So right here. Okay, this right here is -2, -2. Cool. All right, let's plot another point here. Let's plot 1 and Let's actually do something a little more difficult. Let's do 3 and -3. How will we do this? So to do this, we're going to look at, remember, our x value here is 3, our y value here is -3, right? So 3 would be here, right? It'd start here, 3 is rare. Remember, we always start with our x value, so we start with 3, and then we look for -3. Where's -3? -3 is right there, so we go down all the way to -3 here. We put our point down right there. And that's where 3, -3 is. Okay? Cool. So now let's get rid of some of these points that I don't want. Let's get rid of some of these points. Get rid of some of these points I don't want. Okay, so we're just left with 4 points here. We're just going to be left with 4 points. And these 4 points are -2, 3, 2, 2, 3, -3, and -2, -2. Now there's actually a pattern here regarding how the points look depending on if the x is negative, or if the y is negative, or if the x is positive, or the y is positive, or a combination of those. Right? So there's quadrants, right? And I should have said this first, but according, I want to teach you about quadrants like this. So there's quadrants, right? There's the Cartesian plane is split into quadrants. So we have our quadrant 1, which is right here. That's known as Q1. That's quadrant 1, the very top right. Quadrant 2 is right here, right? It's to the left of quadrant 1, like that. And then quadrant 3 is right there. And quadrant 4 is right here. So it's in a different order. It's in like almost a counterclockwise order, right? That's how my quadrants are appearing on my plane. Alright, so if we look here in quadrant 1, right, we can see what's happening to our x and y's. So both my x and my y are positive in this case. So both, in this case, in quadrant 1, the x is positive, and my y is positive as well. Okay? In quadrant 2, it's a little different. You can look at our x-plane here, and it's always negative, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, and so on. But my y is actually positive. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So in this quadrant 2 here, my x is negative, and my y is positive. Interesting, okay? Cool. Positive. Okay, now let's look at quadrant 3 here. In quadrant 3, what's happening? My x is negative, correct? My x is negative. See, -1, -2, -3. It's going this way, negative. And also, my y is negative. See? It goes from 0 to -1 to -2, -3, -4. So therefore, we can state this. In quadrant 3, both my x is negative and my y is negative. Okay, if you can refer to the points, right? Look at the point itself. You can see in this case both are positive. In this case, you can see the x is negative, y is positive. For this point, x is negative and both y is negative. See that? All right. So now let's look at quadrant 4. In quadrant 4, if we look here, look at our point 3, -3 here, we can see that the x value is positive and my y value is negative. So you can kind of state here that your x is positive and your y is negative. Okay? All right. Hopefully that made some sense here. And we can confirm that. See how the graph is going to the x is going positive here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the graph is going negative when it goes down. The y is going down in the y direction. So yeah. So hopefully this makes some sense. So now the next thing I want you guys to do is I want you guys to practice some stuff here. I want you guys to try plotting some points on your own, or at least understanding where they would be. Right? I'm gonna ask you to plot one point. Hopefully you have a Cartesian graph ready at your disposal, some grid paper, and try and make your own Cartesian plane like this, right? And I want you guys to try doing this, all right? Okay, so let's say I want you to plot the point 2, 3, and we'll look at it after. I want you guys to plot the point 2, 3, 2, 3, -3, 2, and 4, 3. Alright, so you can pause the video right now and try doing this. Alright, so I hope you guys gave it a try. So let's do it ourselves now. Let's do it together. So we have our first point here, which is 2, 3. So again, our x is positive and my y is positive, so it would be in quadrant 1, and it'd be 2, 3, right, like so. So that would be my point 2, 3. All right. Let's look at our next point here. So we've done 2, 3. Let's look at our point negative 3, 2. So again, my x is negative and my y is positive. So in the x direction, I'll go negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, right along so. And I'm going up to 2, which is my y value. So my y value 2 is right here. It'd be in quadrant 2, right? And it'd be like so. And negative 3, 2. All right, so plot our second point like so. And for our final point, which we have is 4, 3. 4, 3 would be right here. It would be from here, 4, and then we would go up 3 units. So my x would be positive 4, my y would be positive 3. It would be right here. Let me use a different color. Okay, 4, 3 would be right over here, right alongside this one. Just a little messy dot there. There we go. So that's how you can plot your points on a Cartesian plane. Now for the final part of this lesson, I'm gonna have you guys try and name some points I'm gonna graph on the graph, and I want you guys to try and name it, okay? All right, so let's start really quickly. So let's say I have the points. I want you guys to name this one, this point over here. Oops, not this one. That point. This point right here. Over here. This point over here. This point over here. Oops. This point over here. This point over here. All right. Okay. Okay, I want you guys to name these points. I can zoom in for you if you need me to. See, that's that. That's that one over here, and that one over here, and that's that one. You can pause the video and try it out. So, okay, let's solve this now. Okay, we'll start with a point in quadrant 1. So, in quadrant 1, both are positive, right? So, our x is 6 and my y is 1, right? You can kind of see that. So, this point is 6, 1. All right, for the point in quadrant 2, we look here. It goes from negative 1, negative 2, right? My x is negative 2, my y is 4. So, therefore, it would be negative 2, 4. Okay, so for our point in quadrant 3 over here, we have the point negative 3, negative 2. How do we know that? We go in our x direction, it's negative 3, right? And our y direction is negative 2. So 3 to the left, 2 down from our origin point. So it would be negative 3, negative 2. Okay, for our last and final point here, we have, if we go 5 here, so our x, right? Our x is 5. If we look up here, x is 5. And our y here is negative 3. So our point is 5, negative 3. All right. So that's it for this lesson on Cartesian planes. I hope you guys learned something. If you did, don't forget to leave a like.